Girls, today we are going to look at the passage called Winter to Spring, and this is in your pink benchmark booklet. So what we'll do is we'll read through the passage Winter to Spring, and we will code it and mark it up. You'll also be able to fill in the cause and effect worksheet using the click to type feature that we have on that, and most of you have used that before. And after you have coded and answered questions and answered the cause effect questions, then you can finish up this page, and this is also in your packet if you still have it, and that would be the 4 questions that go with our story. So let's move ahead to the story Winter to Spring, and this is how I coded the story.
Second graders, today we are going to use the pink benchmark literacy packet if you have it. If you have it and want to grab it, that would be awesome. If you don't have it, you can certainly just follow along and read with me as we go. We are going to be moving on to the next page titled Winter to Spring. And what we're going to do today is look at that passage and find cause and effect situations. And we're also going to be paying special attention and close attention to signal words that will help us find those cause and effect phrases. All right. Let's read it together first, just to get the gist of the passage and to know what the passage is talking about. Winter to Spring. The air is usually coldest in winter. The cold air can cause ponds to freeze. To stay warm, people wear jackets, hats, and gloves. In winter, some animals go underground or in caves to stay warm. Some birds fly to warmer places so they can find food. Soon, we have more sunlight and the days are longer. Because we have more sunlight, we have more heat. The warmer weather causes snow and ice to melt. We see the birds return because they can find plenty of food now. It is spring. So as we look at that, I think the first thing we should do is number the paragraphs so that we can go back and talk about that quickly with each other. So let's number those. Paragraph 1, 2, we indent again here for paragraph 3, and paragraph 4. So we have 4 paragraphs, and let's look at those one at a time. Paragraph 1. The air is usually coldest in winter. The cold air can cause ponds to freeze. To stay warm, people wear jackets, hats, and gloves. The signal word is cause. The word cause tells us that there will be a cause and effect situation. So it causes ponds to freeze. So if ponds freeze, and let's use a couple new colors today. Let's use orange and green. If the effect is that ponds will freeze, what was the cause of that? It was the cold air. Cold air can cause the ponds to freeze. Let's look at the next section here. To stay warm, people wear jackets, hats, and gloves. Now remember, we don't always hear the signal word in our cause and effect, but I think I see something here. This seems to stay warm. What do people do? They wear jackets, hats, and gloves. Well, do they get warm first, or do they wear the jackets, hats, and gloves first? They wear the jackets, hats, and gloves. So that is our cause. And because they do that, they stay warm. Remember, the cause and effect can be written in either part of the sentence. We can switch up our sentence structure and have the cause first, or we could have the effect first. Let's read paragraph 2. In winter, some animals go underground or in caves to stay warm. So what's the reason that they stay warm? How do they stay warm? What causes them to stay warm? We know that to stay warm is the effect. Okay, I gotta get my right color here. To stay warm is the effect. And why do they stay warm? Because they go underground into caves. Okay. There are a whole lot of cause and effects in this story, this little passage. Let's move on to the next part of paragraph 2. Is some birds fly to warmer places so they can find food. Well, I see that signal word so. The cause is that the birds fly to warmer places. The effect is, because they go there, they can find food. Paragraph 3. Now I want you to read through this. Soon we have more sunlight and the days are longer. Is there a cause and effect right there? Okay. Because we have more sunlight, we have more heat. Let's look at that signal word. Okay, you find it. The cause is we have more sunlight. And what's the effect? That's right, we have more heat. It also causes us to have longer days, doesn't it? More sunlight also makes longer days. Moving on to paragraph 4. The warmer weather causes snow and ice to melt. We see birds return because they can find plenty of food now. It's spring. It looks like we're going to have a couple cause and effect situations. There's 2 signal words. Did you notice those 2? The warmer weather causes, so that would be our cause. We get warm weather. What happens? The snow and ice melt. We see the birds return because they can find plenty of food now. It's spring. So the cause, because they find food, they're going to return. They wouldn't return if there wasn't food. The birds return because they can find food now. Excellent. Thanks for following along. There are pages that you can do on your Google Classroom that have cause and effect if you would like. But the big thing that I want you to be listening for is that when you're reading in your own passages, you pay attention to what makes another thing happen. What's the reason something else happens? Now, on the back side of this, you have some questions. So winter to spring questions. And I'm not going to fill them in right away with you. I'd like you to try this on your own. If you do not need me to read it, go ahead and stop and just go ahead and complete the page. For those of you that want to read along, let's read together. We're going to use the information from the poster from the back page to answer these questions 1 through 4. What causes ponds to freeze? Do jackets, hats, and gloves cause the pond to freeze? B, cold air or animals? Mark your answer. And what did you fill in? I filled in cold air. Number 2, why do some animals go underground in the winter? Do they go underground to stay warm? Do they go underground to cool off or to find food? Mark your answer. Which did you mark? They go underground, yes, to stay warm. Number 3, what is the effect of more sunlight? If we have more sunlight, what does that cause? What does it make happen? We have more sunlight. Do we get longer days? Do we have more heat? Or do we have both of the above? Mark your answer. And I agree, we have both of those things. When we have more sunlight, our days get longer and we have more heat. Number 4, what causes the snow and ice to melt? A, cold air, B, jackets, hats, and gloves, or C, warmer weather? What causes the ice to melt? Does cold air make ice melt? Do jackets, hats, and gloves make the ice melt? Or does warmer weather make the ice melt? And I filled in letter C too. Thank you for reading with me today.